All right, here's how you do this lesson 7.03a independent practice. What we're doing here is we solving system of equation by graphing. Here is the system. A system is two equations that share the same answer. And the way we're going to find the answer is by doing the graph. So I'm going to start with the first equation. And I hope you remember y equal mx plus b, something that we did before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the m and the b to do the graph. So in the first equation here, the -2 is my b. So I'm going to go here in the graph, and I'm going to put a dot on -2. Okay. And then the m is the number multiplying the x. Now, I don't see any number on the left side of the x. So when you do not see a number, it's 1. But remember, the slope is a fraction. So you have to say 1 over 1. So that's why from here, from point A, I'm going to count 1 up and 1 to the right. Remember, slope is rise over run. And I got my first line. So I'm going to connect the 2 points. Oops, I didn't click on the line. Let me do that again. There. So click on A, click on B. There is the line of the first equation. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second equation. Again, y equal mx plus b. I'm going to find b first. So here my b is 4. So on the y-axis, I'm going to put a point on the 4. Okay, and then I'm going to find or identify my m. My m here is -2. Okay, so but I need to write -2 as a fraction. That means -2 over 1. So that means I'm going to count 2 down from 4 and then 1 to the right. And I click the point there. Now I'm going to connect those 2 points with a line. And there it is. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to place a point where the 2 lines meet. And that will be where the blue and the red line meets. It meets right there. You can see it's at 2 zeros. I'm going to click there. Oops. Let me undo that. I want to put a point, not a line. So I click a point, and I'm going to put a point right there. That will be point E. And that is how you do this. I'm going to check my answer. Now, what I'm going to do next, for the next question, I'm using my answer, okay? And I'm going to identify, see this here, this system, question number 2. It's the same problem I did before. But now I'm going to use my graph to identify the answer, the solution. And when the 2 lines meet, okay, we say we have one solution. And basically, you're going to give me where do they meet. And you can see they meet at 2, 0. I'm pointing with the finger. So I'm going to write parentheses, 2, 0. Oh, it didn't write. Let me write that down. Parentheses, 2, 0. Okay, and that's it. And I'm going to check my answer. All right. Let me go question number 3. All right. Same idea. Okay. Oops. I passed it right there. Okay. I have a system of equation, 2 equations that share the same answer. And I'm going to find the answer, the solution, by graphing. So I'm going to start with the first equation. Y equal 3/4 x minus 1. I'm going to identify my b. This is y equal mx plus b. I'm going to identify my b. So my b is -1. So I'm going to click on the dot. I'm going to put a dot on -1 right there. And then I'm going to identify my m, which is 3 over 4, which means I'm going to go 3 up. So I'm going to have to drag this down a little bit. There. I'm going to have to go 3 up from the first point that I put there. So 1, 2, 3, and then make a right turn 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you have 2 points, you connect it with a line. And there it is. I did the graph of the first equation. Now I'm going to do the graph of the second equation. Same thing again. Y equal mx plus b. I'm going to identify my b, which is -12. So I'm going to put a dot on -12 all the way on the bottom here. And I'm going to identify my m. My m is -2. However, -2, I have to write it like a fraction. So that will be -2 over 1. So I'm going to have to drag this up a little bit right there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from C, I'm going to go 2 down, that's -2, and 1 to the right. Okay, and now I'm ready to connect the 2 points with the line. And there's my system. Now I'm going to click where they meet. I'm going to click on the point, and I'm going to put a point where the 2 lines meet, and they meet right here. You can see it's -4, -4. Okay, so there is the graph. Let's check the answer. And you can see I got it right. Okay, and now you see my answer of question number 3. I can answer question number 4. And when the 2 lines cross, we say we have one solution. And the solution here is where the 2 lines meet. And you can see I'm pointing with a finger. They meet at -4, -4. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put here. Parenthesis, -4, comma, -4. And that's how you do problem number 2. That it was very similar to problem number 1. Let me do one more problem. So I'm going to do this last problem. All the other problems, you do it the same way, okay? So I'm going to do problem number 5. Again, we're going to solve the system by graphing. A system of equation is 2 equations that share the same answer, okay? So I'm going to start with the first equation, y equal to 2/x minus 4. So I'm going to start, remember, this is y equal mx plus b. I'm going to start with my b, that is -4. So I'm going to put a dot on -4 right there. Now I'm going to identify my m, which is the slope, is 2/3. What does that mean? That from point A, the first point I put there, I'm going to go 2 up and 3 to the right, see? And the moment you put those 2 points connected with a line. Now I'm going to do the second equation, okay? And you're going to notice that my second equation is exactly the same as the first one. Okay, so if I would do it, I don't think it's necessary, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a point on y equal mx plus b. I'm going to put a point again on -4. And then I'm going to use the slope 2/3 to put the second point. So I will go 1, 2, up, 3 to the right. I will put the other one. And then I connect again the 2 points. And you can see there was a blue line before and there's a red line after. What does that mean? That I have one line on top of the other. Okay. Where do they meet? Okay. They will meet everywhere. So it's going to be impossible to put a point where they meet because they're meeting everywhere. So I'm just going to check my answer. Let's see what happens. Okay. And you can see I got it right. All right. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to use my answer number 5 to answer number 6. And looking at my graph, I told you that we have 2 lines, the blue one and the red one. Okay, and they're on top of each other. They're meeting everywhere, so that means we have infinite solutions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this symbol, the infinity symbol, which you can find it. Let me see, I think it's right here. There it is. See this pi symbol, there's a little arrow, and click on the infinity symbol there. And that means infinite solution, okay? And you check your answer. And that's it. I'm not going to do the other ones because all the other problems are done the same way, okay? I hope this helps.